I applied to 100 jobs in the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I basically disappeared. My friends were texting me wondering if I was even alive. I was running on caffeine. I had music going on in the background just to stay functional, and I did nothing else. That was my entire life for 14 days. And I want to walk you through exactly what happened, the numbers, the patterns, what worked, what was a complete waste of time, and what I'm doing differently because of it. I'm thousands of dollars in debt. I was unemployed, and I'm living at home. That's not a bit, that's just where I'm at right now. And that context matters because this wasn't some casual experiment I ran for content. This was me genuinely trying to find income with real urgency behind it and documenting it so you can see what the job market actually looks like when you go at it as hard as I did. So let's get to it. I want to explain why I decided to do 100 jobs specifically because it wasn't random. The honest answer is I'd been applying here and there before this, maybe a handful a week, and I had no idea what was working and what wasn't because the sample size was too small to tell me anything. 10 applications with zero responses doesn't mean your resume or cover letter are bad. It might just mean 10 applications is nothing. I needed volume to actually see a pattern. So I set 100 as the number and I committed to it. I applied across 4 platforms: LinkedIn, Indeed, Upwork, and then a separate track where I was finding jobs through Google and applying directly to the company's own website or portal. 4 different channels. And I'll tell you right now, the results were not even close to equal across all 4. And that ended up being one of the most important things this whole experiment showed me. Going into it, I was hoping volume would just work. Like if I threw enough at the wall, something would stick. And yeah, some things did stick. But the way they stuck and where they stuck told me a lot about what I should have been doing from the very beginning. Some quick rules I set for myself. An application only counted if it was actually submitted, not saved. Not half filled out, sent. The 100 jobs break down across 4 channels. LinkedIn and Indeed is where I'll start. I use the easy apply feature on a lot of these, like most people do, which means some of them took me under 5 minutes, some even 30 seconds, some even a second. I just hit submit and I moved on. But I also applied to jobs posted on those platforms that took me to the company's actual site and made me go through their full portal or application system directly. So it wasn't all lazy clicking. Some of those took real time. But Upwork was different. Every single Upwork application was a written proposal. I always wrote a cover letter on Upwork. That's just how the platform works if you want to be taken seriously. Each one took me somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. So the effort per application on Upwork was significantly higher than anything I was doing on LinkedIn or Indeed. And then the Google search. I was literally searching job titles, finding company career pages, and applying directly. No middleman, no recruiter, just me finding the listing and going straight to the source. Now, I want to be upfront about something before I give you the actual numbers. The 100 applications were not all in my specialty. I was applying to SEO roles, which is my actual background. I was applying to graphic design roles, which is also part of my background. But I was also applying to other things because I need income and I have a range of experience: graphic design, marketing, project management, event planning. I was casting a wide net, and that casting wide decision ended up being a mixed result, which I will get into now. Here's what 100 job applications actually produced in my experiment. I got a total of 11 responses. Yes, out of 100 job applications, 11 responded. That's an 11% response rate. The other 89, nothing. No rejection, no email, just silence, like the application went into a black hole and nobody on the other end ever looked at it. Some of them might have been ghost jobs, but that's a topic for another video. Now, let me break down those 11 because where they came from is the whole story. 7 of the 11 responses came from Upwork. All 7 were related to SEO, my actual specialty. I'd done one job on Upwork before, so I wasn't starting from a blank profile, although it wasn't a really popular popping profile either. I had a record at least, and out of those 7 responses, 2 of them turned into offers. One was a one-time SEO audit, which I did get paid for. The other, and this is the one that actually matters, is a full-time remote job working at the intersection of AI and SEO with the potential to be long-term. That's what I started this week. That one is already basically good to go. I was a good fit and they brought me on board. Now, 2 responses came from LinkedIn and Indeed combined. 2 out of however many applications I sent through those platforms, and neither of those led anywhere meaningful. The remaining 2 responses came from the direct company applications I found through Google. Both of them are still in progress. One is a program assistant role, 5 days a week, in person, 8:30 to 5:30, lots of different responsibilities, kind of a jack of all trades position. The other is a business development representative role, hybrid, 3 days remote, 2 in person, paying somewhere between 25 and 31 an hour, and only requiring a high school diploma. That one I also had a slight advantage on because I had an existing connection through someone at their sister company, someone I'd actually worked with before. Now, both of those job applications are still active. I've had informal phone calls with both, and nothing has been finalized. And then there were the rejections. 2 other companies that I applied to directly through Google that didn't move forward sent me the exact same energy. An AI generated, I assume, email that starts with "Thank you for your application and interest in," and it ends with we wish you the best of luck in your job search." No feedback, no reason, just a very polished way of saying no. So, to summarize the full picture and all the numbers, 100 applications, 11 responses, 7 from Upwork, 2 from LinkedIn and Indeed combined, 2 from direct applications found on Google, 2 Upwork offers, and those 2 roles from Google are still in progress. I'm thousands of dollars in debt. I no longer have zero income from employment right now, but I want multiple sources of income. So, those are the numbers. Now, let's talk about what they actually mean. When I look at this data honestly, there's a few things that jump out that I just can't ignore. The first and most obvious one, Upwork outperformed everything else by a long shot. 7 responses out of how many Upwork proposals I sent versus 2 responses from LinkedIn and Indeed combined. And LinkedIn and Indeed are supposed to be the go-to job boards. That's where everyone tells you to apply. That's where the job market lives, supposedly. And I think I know why the gap is that dramatic. On Upwork, I was applying in my actual specialty. I had a history on the platform, even if it was just one job. I was writing real proposals, not just clicking easy apply. The people reviewing my applications on Upwork could see my profile, my past work, my feedback, and my testimonials. There was context. On LinkedIn and Indeed, I was one of hundreds of applicants with a PDF resume and no differentiation. I was basically noise, and so was everyone else applying. The second pattern, direct applications through Google, performed better than LinkedIn and Indeed on a response rate basis, even if the sample size is smaller. 2 responses out of a small number of direct applications versus 2 responses out of a much larger number of LinkedIn and Indeed submissions. That tells me that going directly to a company's own portal, even when it takes more time, has a better hit rate than going through the big aggregator platforms and job boards. The third pattern, the connection advantage, is real, and I need to stop underestimating it, and so do you if you happen to have it. The business development role I'm still in the process for, technically. I had an existing relationship with someone connected to that company. That's not nothing. That probably got my resume actually looked at instead of filtered out by an algorithm or an ATS system. I had a real human being aware of my application before it even got to a hiring manager. That matters enormously. And the fourth pattern, the AI rejection emails from the direct Google applications, they were telling me something too. Associate Director, Technical SEO was one of the role titles from those rejections. That's a senior role. I applied for it. I probably shouldn't have, because the experience gap between where I am now and where that title lives is real. That application was wishful thinking, and the generic auto rejection confirmed it. But what was the worst they could say? No? Years ago, my mentor taught me to just apply to anything no matter what, even if I'm going to get rejected, to get rid of that mental block of being afraid of applying. Now, let me be straight about what I got wrong here because there were real mistakes and I'm not going to dress them up. The first mistake was I underinvested in Upwork early. Looking at the data, Upwork produced 7 out of my 11 responses, and both of my actual offers. And my Upwork proposals were the most effort intensive applications I was sending. 10 to 20 minutes each I spent on them with a real cover letter with actual context about who I am and what I can do. The return on that investment was dramatically higher than everything else I was doing. So why wasn't I sending more Upwork proposals and fewer LinkedIn Easy Applies? That's a resource allocation problem I created for myself. The second mistake I made was LinkedIn and Indeed Easy Applies, I have now learned, are basically a trap. I'm not saying never use them because some of them are real applications, but sending volume through Easy Apply on those platforms without any differentiation, without a tailored message, without anything that makes you stand out from the other 300 to 1,000 people who hit the same button as you, you're wasting your time. I wasted my time. The data backs this up. 2 responses from however many I sent through those platforms, and I'm going to admit, I kind of already knew this going in, honestly, because I've done this before in the past, but it was a while ago. I wanted to see if times had changed it, so I did it anyway. And it also felt like progress. Clicking apply feels like I'm doing something, even if it's not always doing something. I felt productive. I felt like I could get lucky and win the lottery. Now, the third mistake was I applied to roles above my experience level, and those applications just went nowhere, like the associate director position of technical SEO. That's a role for someone with several years of management experience and a track record of running SEO at a large scale. I have SEO experience, I just don't have that specific profile yet. Applying for it wasn't strategic. It was a shot in the dark that predictably didn't connect. The fourth mistake was relying on the entire application itself as my strategy. For the corporate roles I was applying to on LinkedIn, Indeed, and through direct portals or company websites, I basically just submitted and then I waited. I didn't reach out to anyone. I didn't look up who the hiring manager was or if there was a hiring manager that I could contact. I didn't try to find a contact at the company the way I accidentally benefited with the business development role. I kind of just sent the application and hoped someone would find it and care about it. That's a passive strategy in an environment where passiveness doesn't get rewarded. Now, here's what's changing. And I mean actually changing. Not, I should probably do this language and then not do it. Actual decisions. Upwork from now on is going to get more of my time and attention, not less. The data is clear, at least for my specialty. That's where I have a track record, and that's where my specialty is recognized. That's where the proposals I write actually get read by a human being who's evaluating me on my merits, not filtering me through a keyword algorithm or an ATS system. The full-time AI and SEO role I just landed is confirmed proof that this lane is real, even if I didn't get responses from everything on Upwork. I'm going to invest more into it for future opportunities. I'm also done with mass easy apply on LinkedIn and Indeed as a primary strategy. I'll still use those platforms, but only for roles I'm actually targeting, where I take the time to tailor my resume and my cover letter, where I look up who's hiring and try to find a real contact if their information is publicly available, where I'm treating the application like it matters instead of treating it like a lottery ticket. And then I'm going to do more direct outreach because direct outreach gets added to every application I actually care about. For every corporate role I apply to going forward, I'm going to try to find one real human being connected to that position, whether it's a hiring manager, someone on the team, someone in the department, and send a short message before or alongside the application. Not a desperate pitch, just a clear professional note that puts a name to the resume and a face to the name. The business development role showed me what that can do even when the connection is indirect. I need to be building that deliberately. And I'm basically just going to stay in my lane on Upwork and be more selective about job applications everywhere else. Not that I'm not going to do any, but just be more selective. Quality over quantity. I'm not applying to associate director roles right now. It's not defeatism. It's just being honest about where I am versus where those roles need me to be. Maybe one day I will, But the goal is to apply where I'm actually competitive, get income moving, build a track record, and let the credentials catch up to the ambition over time. The job search is one lane, but it's not the only lane. The full time Upwork position is real income. That's the rebuild actually starting to move. And while I continue applying to full time roles and following up on the program assistant and business development role opportunities to see if those bear fruit, I'm not sitting idly by waiting for an employer to decide my fate. Both tracks run simultaneously. Income now, stability building in parallel, multiple sources of income if I can get it. That's the strategy going forward. There's also some other things I actually learned from this that go just beyond my situation. I learned that the platform matters as much as the effort. Putting 10 hours into LinkedIn easy applies and putting 10 hours into tailored Upwork proposals are not the same thing, even though both feel like repetitive work. Where you spend your effort determines what you get back from it. I learned that the hard way by watching the data come in and realizing almost everything that moved came from one platform where I was actually showing up as a person instead of a PDF. Another important lesson is having a connection, even a loose one, is worth more than a perfect resume. The business development role I'm still technically in the process for exists only because someone who knew me from previous work knew someone at that company. That indirect connection probably got my application looked at by a human being instead of filtered out before anyone even read it. I can't manufacture connections I don't have, but I can stop ignoring the ones that I do have. And I was very fortunate to find this one. And I can start building new ones intentionally instead of treating networking like something I'll get around to eventually. The data will tell you where to go if you're willing to look at it honestly. I came into this honestly thinking volume was the answer. The data told me, however, that it's not volume. It's targeted volume in the right places with the right amount of effort behind each application. Not 10 generic applications to fast food places, just 10 tailored applications to your specialty and what you want. And that's a different thing. And I only know that because I ran the experiment and paid attention to what came back. So, for the foreseeable future, the full time AI and SEO role on Upwork is my full time priority. It's already in motion. I've been onboarded and I started work this week. That's the most important thing happening right now because it's real income attached to my actual specialty with the upside if I perform. Plus, it's remote, so that's awesome. That gets my full focus while I'm trying to get long term at this company. For the two corporate roles that are still in progress, the program assistant and business development role, I'll still follow up and stay engaged if any of them bear fruit. But if they close, that's okay. Regardless, I'll report back with the full picture when there's an update. On Upwork, I'm continuing to send proposals as needed, but with even more intention than before. I know what kind of client responds to me. I know what roles I can actually deliver on. I'm not wasting proposals on jobs outside my lane. And if I see anything like that off Upwork, I will apply to them as well. For corporate applications going forward, smaller volume, more effort per application, and direct outreach attached to everyone I actually care about. That's the new standard. And the debt is still there. That number doesn't move until income moves. So the whole point of everything I just described is to get income moving, keeping it moving, and start chipping away at that number in a way I can actually document and show you. That's the experiment. That's the rebuild. I'll be back with the next update, hopefully soon. I want to see how my first week of work goes. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.